Hello everyone, happy Friday and welcome to today's deck profile. Today we'll be going over a pure Dogmatika brew that I put together. This is mainly focused around the ritual monsters like Albazoa, White Relic, and White Knight, and kind of annoying your opponent and locking them out of the extra deck. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. Starting off, we have 3 copies of Dogmatika Ecclesia the Virtuous. Can't be destroyed by battle with a monster summoned from the extra deck. If a monster is special from the extra deck on the field, you can special this from your hand, and if this card is summoned, add a Dogmatika card from deck to hand, except Ecclesia, and you're locked out of the extra deck for the rest of the turn, which is fine because you will not be summoning from the extra deck in this deck. Next, we play 3 copies of Dogmatika Ecclesia, or Dogmatika Fleur-de-Lis, rather. During main phase, if a monster special from the extra deck is on the field, you can special this from your hand. Then if you control another Dogmatika monster, you can negate the effects of a face-up monster on the field until the end of the turn. When your Dogmatika monster attacks, or declares an attack, you can make all Dogmatikas gain 500. You can only use each once per turn. This is a free summon, gets all your monsters pretty big, and it can be a negate if you search it off of Ecclesia turn 1. Next, I do play 2 copies of Ashayan. Ashayan, if a Fusion Synchro Xyz or Link is sent to the grave, you can special this from your hand. If it's special summon, target a Dogmatika in your grave and add it to your hand. And when your opponent's monster declares an attack, all Dogmatikas gain 500. So between it and your Fleur-de-Lis, you're definitely going to be getting some bigger numbers. Next, we play 2 copies of Maximus. Maximus allows you to banish a Fusion Synchro, Xyz, or Link from your graveyard, special list from your hand. During the main phase, both players can send 2 monsters with different names from my extra deck to the grave to make my opponent send 2 from their extra deck to the grave. Once again, locking you out of the extra deck. Finally, I play 2 copies of Dogmatika Nexus. Must be special summoned by targeting 4 Fusion Synchro, Xyz, or Links in the grave to special this card by banishing the 4 from the graveyard. At the start of damage step, if it battles a special summon monster, you can destroy all attack position monsters your opponent controls, and inflict 800 damage for each Fusion Synchro, Xyz, or Link destroyed by this effect. This is kind of your end-all boss. Hopefully you'll have, thinned out your opponent's extra deck by the time this hits the field, but if not, it's definitely crazy to have almost a Mirror Force on legs. Now for our rituals, play 3 of Albazoa. This is your boss monster in the deck. Must be ritual summoned by Dogmatic Calamity or another Dogmatika effect. Dogmatika monsters are unaffected by the activated effects of your opponent's extra deck monsters. During your main phase, you can make your opponent choose one of the following effects. You can, for every 2 cards in your extra deck, send 1 card from your hand or extra deck to the graveyard. Or you can return all Fusion Synchro, Xyz, and Link monsters to the extra deck. Really crazy way to kind of thin out your opponent's extra deck. And on top of that, massive 4K beat stick. So definitely recommend getting to this guy as soon as possible. For the other rituals, we play 2 White Relic of Dogmatika. White Relic can be summoned with Dogmatikabre. If it's ritual summon, you can target a face-up monster on the field and make one of those monsters gain attack of the other monster. Level 8 or higher Dogmatikas can't be destroyed by battle. And if a monster is special summoned from your opponent's extra deck, you can look at your opponent's extra deck to send 1 monster from it to the graveyard. This one's not as important to hold on to. It's kind of a backup in case your other ritual plays go down, but still fairly useful. Next, we have 2 White Knight of Dogmatika. You can ritual summon this with Dogmatika Calamity. If your opponent activates a card or effect, send a monster from your extra deck to the graveyard, look at your opponent's extra deck, and send 1 monster from it to the graveyard. This card gains attack equal to half the combined attack of those monsters sent to the grave until the end of the turn. This is fantastic. Anything you can get to start sending stuff from your extra deck to the graveyard is just going to let you plus throughout the game. Moving on to our spell lineup. Playing 3 Nadir Servant. Send a monster from your extra deck to the grave to add a Dogmatika monster or a Fallen of Albaz from your deck or graveyard to your hand that has less attack or less than or equal than that monster in the graveyard. Also, you're locked out of extra deck for the rest of the turn. Fantastic card. With the type of monsters we have in the extra deck, really anything is going to allow you to get a good search off of Nadir's Servant. And we'll go over what all we have in that extra deck in just a moment. Play 3, pre-prep. We will go over which ritual spell that uses in a moment, but this allows you to add a ritual spell from deck to hand, and then a monster listed on that ritual spell from deck or graveyard to hand. Next, we play 3 copies of Dogmatika Matrix. This card is insane. When it's activated, you can add a Dogmatika Ritual monster or a Dogmatika Ritual spell from deck to hand. Then if your opponent controls a monster, you can add a Dogmatika card from deck to hand. Once per turn, if you control a Dogmatika Ritual monster, look at either player's extra deck and send a monster from it to the graveyard. Really crazy card. Gets you that search on activation in possibly a second, depending on your opponent's plays. And on top of that, allows you to start thinning out your opponent's extra deck. Next, we play 3 copies of Dogmatika. This card can ritual summon any Dogmatika Ritual monster from hand or grave. You must tribute monsters from your hand or field, or banish fusion or synchro monsters from your grave whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster for this ritual summon. Then, if both White Knight and White Relic are on the field, you can look at either player's edge deck and send a monster from it to the graveyard. So, your copy of pre-prep can search Dogmatika and then either the White Knight or the White Relic, which is pretty good card advantage there. And it's really important you can banish from the grave with this, since most of your extra deck are going to be kind of the right levels for this. You can really start easily ritual summoning by banishing from the grave. We play 3 copies of Dogmatika Nation. Little extra protection for your Dogmatikas, since neither player can target Dogmatikas with card effects from monsters that are special from the extra deck. You can use each of the following effects once per turn. After damage calc, if a Dogmatika monster battled, you can destroy that opponent's monster. And when this card leaves the field zone, you can have each player send 1 monster from their extra deck to the graveyard. So a little protection, and allows you to kind of guarantee you're going to get over some monsters if you're kind of stuck with Ecclesia. And finally, for spells, we play 1 Dogmatic Calamity. Can be used to ritual summon any Dogmatic Ritual monster by tributing from hand or field, whose levels equal exactly the level of the ritual monster. Or you can send 1 from your extra deck, whose level equals the level of the ritual monster for the ritual summon. This is why in the extra deck we're playing a lot of 4s like Entis, like Herald, or 8s like Titanic Lad. It's a really great card to get that boost. Looking at the trap lineup, we have triple Dogmatika Punishment. Target a face-up monster your opponent controls. Send a monster with equal or higher attack from your extra deck to the graveyard. If you do, destroy that monster. However, until the end of your next turn, you are locked out of the extra deck. Really great removal, especially when you pair it with something like an Entis or a Malong. You can kind of get 2 destruction/removals just from 1 trap. Finally, I do play 2 copies of Dogmatika Encounter, which can either reborn a Dogmatika, or special a Dogmatika from hand, or reborn a Dogmatika from grave. Moving on to the extra deck, most of this you won't, actually none of this you'll summon, all of it's meant to be sent off your Dogmatika effects. So we play triple Elder Entity Entis, which when it's sent to the graveyard, you can target a card in the field, destroy it. Play triple Garura, when it's sent to the grave, you can draw 1 card. Triple Titanic Lad. During the end phase, if this was sent to the grave, you can special or add a Dogmatika monster from your deck. 1 Skull Knight, which while it's in the grave, you can banish this card, target a monster in the field, destroy it. 1 Skull Wagon, which while it's in the graveyard, you can banish this card, target a spell trap in the field, destroy it. Then we play a couple of Synchros. Namely, a playset of Herald of the Arclight, which when sent to grave allows you to add a ritual monster or ritual spell from deck to hand, and 1 copy of Golden Cloud Beast Malong, which if it's sent to the grave, target a face-up monster your opponent controls and return it to the hand. All of these, like I said, are meant to be sent off of your various Dogmatika effects, and will give you that little boost on top of whatever else you are activating here. Definitely a fun deck. It's not too pricey. So you can kind of have a little fun without breaking the bank. But But I definitely recommend looking into this one, especially if you're more of a control-oriented player. But either way, I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what decks you want to see in the next one, and make sure to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.